I mean, we got a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes right now from audience, which is awesome.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
We didn't even check.
Yeah, we're like 7-something out of 10 on IMDb.
The movie must actually be good, guys.
Yeah, 99%. In fact, out of 7,000 movies, we were ranked #1 on audience-rated movies that are available now to rent. So it's really cool, yeah.
We should have started off the interview with that information.
Yeah. Cut this from the beginning. Hi, thanks for having us today.
3 tickets.
Have a wonderful time in the nation of Colombia.
To think about it. I'm listening. $25 million reward for the capture of this dude. I'm doing this.
Vincent, what have you done now?
You don't remember anything? You lost your mind, and your wife, your job, and your dignity. Hurrah!
So you somehow thought bringing us to a third world country to catch a Colombian cartel drug lord was a good idea?
He told me we was coming on vacation. I didn't know we was gonna be doing Rambo shit.
Enough.
They got Kurt, man!
Do you know who I am, Mr. Pomeroy?
Cartel members kidnapped our friend. We were told that you can help us. What are you doing?
Gentlemen, welcome to my training ground.
First lesson, always be aware of your surroundings. What the? You stayed up all night painting yourself like your wall?
Affirmative.
Only one thing you need to know to keep from getting killed in battle.
Hello, Reject Nation. It's Greg Alba here.
And it's John Humphrey over here.
With us today is Blake Freeman. Blake Freeman is, oh my god, you gotta be kidding me.
This is what happens.
You would not be in a Vintage Real Rejects video if that wasn't going on right away.
If you didn't come over on a silent day, only to have noise begin directly when filming.
And then the dog starts barking.
Backing that ass up.
Blake Freeman is the writer, director, producer, and star of the movie All About the Money. He actually just did an interview recently at Schmoes Know at their fancy studio in Collider. And now he's here in our apartment.
From that.
Yep, this is the next step, the next level of promotion for your movie, right?
Guys, do not sell this short. The show is awesome. I love it. So,
oh, thanks.
Yeah.
He's seen a video.
And Schmoes is they're all right, man.
They're all right, yeah.
They're
to hell with you, Christian and Mark.
They don't need it as much as we do. They're cool.
Yeah, we saw the trailer for this, and I'll be honest, whenever we get asked to interview someone, this fear comes over John and I.
Yeah.
Which is, what if the trailer is shit? What
if I don't like
What if I
this?
actually don't like it and I gotta bullshit my way through an entire interview with someone?
Take that, magnify it by 10 million, and then know where I stand right before the movie comes out. So, what if it's shit? Because I laugh at all my own jokes, and I don't know whether or not it's good.
Oh, I know the feeling.
I feel like that's the process for anybody who makes comedy.
But we saw the trailer, and we ended up really liking the trailer, which was a delightful surprise. There's so many questions that did pop into my mind going through this, but I think I'm just gonna start off with a complicated one. When we were asked to do this interview, we were told you have this crazy story. I heard it was like interesting, troubling, turbulence, and I got no details as to what they were implying.
I don't know what story they're talking about. There's a lot of stories. So when you're making independent movies, everything that you think and have been told will go wrong does, and then some, and then you just make up a bunch of other shit, and it actually happens too. I mean, it's not glamorous like that, but I think I know what you might be talking about. We're talking about the PR rep as well. There is a scene, and now I'm direct, and then I have to go, and people are like, do you ever go back and, you know, do you watch the scenes you're just in like a normal director? And I'm like, yeah, I'll rely on my director of photography, Ryan Purvis, or Marvin Wilson, who's also a guy behind the camera for me. And I'm like, all right, did we get it? You know, and there are 70 people on set watching, and, you know, they're all just kind of nodding yes or no, and sometimes you want to take their word for it. Well, there's a scene in the movie where we go to Colombia, we go to a party, we get really messed up, we do a bunch of cocaine, me and Eddie Griffin. We go to separate bedrooms with these girls, and the girl that I take in, as she turns around, I find out she's not a girl. Completely nude. Yeah,
I've been there. Yeah.
Whole tranny thing. You need a hug.
Yeah. Thanks, Blake.
That's a scene where it's only funny if your face is right near a penis, and I just said that out loud. That is really bad. I feel terrible about myself. You know, we shoot it, and I jump back, and then we shoot the whole thing, and then I look over, and they're like, dude, it's just blurry. Let's do it again. We're on the 17th take. And the executive from Warner Brothers who came out that day, they came and they stayed till 3 o'clock just to see the scene. And I look over and I'm not gonna lie, man, it might have nipped the nose on one of them. And I looked and I said, we got to be done with this. What's going on? I look over there and they're all crying. We got it on the first take. Oh, wow. And I think that might be the story. I mean, that's the crap that you have.
Dude, that's a team you can rely upon.
I know, man. I never trust any of those guys.
Dedicated to comedy.
Yeah. That is you know, I heard troubles and turbulence. That was not the story I was expecting. You know?
Damn, I told the wrong story.
I hope that penis.
I thought like this project took 15 years to put together.
Oh shit! Yeah,
that was the story I've been hearing.
6 weeks shooting the dick scene. That dick needs to get like 5th billing.
I thought that's what we were talking about. We're making the movie, and right before, like 3 days before we're about to start shooting, come to find out this happens all the time. A lot of filmmakers know what I'm talking about. Independent for sure. The movie was $1.5 million. We had a guy that was putting in $1 million, and he backed out. He didn't back out. Let me phrase it. If it had backed out, it would have been fine. He was just a douchebag that lied. Oh, you mean the money's not in the bank? You mean it's not in the bank?
Damn.
And I'm in commitments for $700,000 at this point, and there's really nobody to blame. So when you make a movie independently, people will go, well, you know, if they don't do their job, there's really only one person to blame. You can't go, well, the sound person sucked or this, that, because it all comes back to me.
Right.
Well, same thing with these guarantees. You know, we had, I don't know, 200,000 in locations, and then 400,000 of people's salaries, whatever it was, you know, that you had to pay up front that are due, and then you don't have any money. You're like, do I just bag it and then pay this off for years, you know, working at Starbucks? You know, do we just try? It was funny, a girlfriend of mine that was sitting, she worked for us on the set, we've been friends for years. She goes, well, how much do we need to get going? And I'm like, 250 grand. She goes, oh, I got that.
Wow.
And it's just like 24 or something.
Whoa.
I'm like,
goodness.
Shit. I'm like, don't even, just not even, it's not the time.
Wait,
or
a
the
female
place.
friend of yours?
Yeah,
or a girl?
no,
okay,
no, female friend, and
what
she
a
worked
friend.
on it. Yeah, she worked on the movie. She cuts this check for 250 grand, and then the movie just starts, you know, going, and then we're stopping scenes, and I'm outside raising money while we're in there, and then we raised another $1 million, and over the next 3 or 4 days, it was insane, man.
Nobody can accuse you of not being dedicated to the art of
filmmaking.
filmmaking.
It was terrible. You know, it's funny because the first couple of days, I'm literally like a deer in headlights. I'm just kind of dead, and you know, a couple times Eddie Griffin would be like, "Look, I need you to come back around." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, cool. All right, what are we doing? Oh, we're filming." You know, because you're thinking, who do I call next? Who do I call next? That part is not fun. We got an amazing crew, and I know everybody always talks about that, and they love it. We actually do. I mean, we would all blow off steam and party, you know,
nice.
when we needed to, and we were good friends, and so you didn't have that. You know, there's a weird thing that goes on in this business where they have bred in where it's us against them. The filmmakers are the bad guys, and then the crew and everybody else is like they're two separate entities constantly bitching and fighting, and I hate that, you know. And we're kind of like, I mean, not to sound stupid, but we're like that Madonna, you know, before they go on. We're all holding hands, you know, going, oh, you know, let's do it. We weren't really holding hands. I was just saying, how shitty would it be to work anywhere else than right here, right now? You know, we all get pumped up that way. You know, we didn't have all of the money that we needed at the right time, and everybody stepped up. You didn't have to hear about it. They just did their job. They said we beat expectations by 1,000%, which means expectations were low. But no, I mean, it's done in like insanely better than what we thought, and now we've got a call for it to be a TV show, hour-long.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
So
congratulations! Hell yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. This was not mentioned on Schmoes.
Was it? No.
No, it wasn't, people.
Actually, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Yes. One step ahead of you bastards. So I gotta ask though. I mean, when we see the trailer and you see people like Eddie Griffin in there and Casper Van Dien.
My man.
Two people I watched a lot in the 90s. Because you're like writing and directing and acting in this. It's a lot of multitasking.
Right.
Was there any intimidation factor at all?
Oh, yeah.
In terms of like working with people who've been around in films for quite a while, and here you are taking on this huge mantle of...
It's the best question anybody's asked, because nobody ever asks that. The answer is... Hell no, man. Look at me.
I'm the shit.
The answer is, hell yeah. I was nervous as hell, like the first 2, and on top of all the crap that I was dealing with, you know, getting the budget while we were filming, you're sitting there with people who are And John Grice, who was Uncle Rico in Napoleon Dynamite, you know, and Taken, and all these other great movies, he's just a fantastic guy. I've worked with him already, but here I'm sitting in a scene. The first and second day is me and him and Eddie Griffin at a table. And I'm trying to hold and I don't at all in that scene. And that was, you'll know that those are the first 2 days. We somehow, we cut around the shittiness of Blake. You know, so that those scenes, really, I mean, those scenes look good because I was intimidated like crazy.
Wait, is this the scene where it's the three of you and he makes that sound and you're like, what are you doing?
Where he laughs. Yep. You're in there and it's, you know, we're in a huge set. It's the biggest set we've had. We made 2 other movies. The first one was $200,000. That was Noobs. And then we made A Journey to Planet Sanity, which was a documentary. That was $500,000. This is our first, what we felt was a big budget movie, and it was.
Anything past $100,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, for us, it's a big budget, and you know, but a lot of people stepped up in Hollywood and gave us a lot of things. Like literally a month before we started filming, I was at a party, and this guy goes, "I like you. I'm going to give you the Scarface mansion to film at."
Wow.
And I was like, all right, man.
Oh, hell yeah.
Take another drug and have another drink. Because, you know, I figured that he was just full of shit like everybody else. And I get a call the next day and this guy goes, so you're going to film here? And I'm like, look, I got to be honest. We don't even have the budget. He goes, no. We're giving you the house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And it's a $40 million estate. Nobody's filmed there since Scarface. And here we are given this place.
Dude.
And it makes the movie just feel so much bigger. So then what we did, we went back and we changed every location, cut every deal. Did every single favor that we had to pull just to make the rest of the movie match in, you know, in a big feeling.
When you were putting this project together, though, because I feel like Eddie Griffin and Casper Van Dien are 2 very specific personalities.
I wrote for them.
You wrote for them.
We got
did you know them before
every
the movie?
single person we wrote for. Casper, yes, he was in Noobs with me, and he's a friend of mine. And what people don't know, he's never been in a comedy before. What people don't know is that guy is one of the coolest, nicest, funniest people that you'll ever be around.
That's what I've heard.
Every day that you hang out with him, he's funny and he's cool, and people don't see it or get it. They only see him in these like serious movies. I mean, he's miscast. And the guy should be in a comedy constantly. He's really, really good, and he killed it. I thought he did a great job. And then I wrote it for him. I wrote it, this neurotic guy of the 3 of us. And then I just wrote myself as kind of an asshole, which I'm really good at that. So I figured, hey man, I can pull this one off. You know, it's just a loser is what it was. And then Eddie Griffin, I wrote it for him, and then he called me and he goes, who wrote the black parts? And I said, I did. And he goes, no, you didn't. Who wrote the black parts? I said, Eddie, I wrote them. We were talking about it at Eddie's house the other night. And he was like, let me call you back. He calls me back and goes, who wrote the black parts? I'm like, Eddie, I wrote them. And he goes, all right, I'm going to do this movie. All right. I said, all right, good. So we got in there, and then I called John Grice, and I said, listen, I want you to play this crazy ex-military guy that trains us. And it took him just a couple of seconds to say yes. I think he might have just stumbled yes.
Who wrote the crazy military part?
Yeah, that's what he said. Who do I have to kill for this? He's awesome, you know. I mean, that guy is just, he's incredible. And then Danny Trejo wrote it for him.
That must be fun to write for Danny Trejo, man.
That guy, yeah. It's very easy. It's just like, hey, I'm going to kill you. You don't even have to get that special with it. He adds the rest. He's just intimidating, you know, to look at.
He has that presence. I mean, I've met him before, and he's really friendly, actually.
That guy's fantastic. He's awesome.
When we were doing our trailer review, what we were thinking was, this kind of feels like a bro fantasy.
Yeah.
Of, you know, like, guys going on vacation, and they kind of land themselves in an action movie.
Yeah.
And so when did you come up with this story? Like, how did it inspire? Were you high or something? What happened?
No. Like, everything we make, you know, I mean, if you don't do something that's commercially, I'm not an artistic director. You guys are gonna get that. I've got tranny penis in my film. I like to do commercially viable things that I think people will laugh at and that have a chance to be passed around. And we do them at a budget level that we know that we can make more of them because we hope we can get that money back. I mean, it is a business, and so we took that mindset in, and you find out what the need is. Noobs, there was no comedies about esports out. We're the first one to do that. And then we made that. Then debunking and, you know, alien, psychics, paranormal. That's the second most argued thing, is paranormal, you know, behind religion in the world.
Right.
Let's make a movie about it and then show these what I feel are crack nuts. I'm a skeptic, but anyway, we show this, and that one did well. And then the other one was we were thinking about it. Guys lay around on a freaking. I've done this. I don't know, but I lay around on a couch, and then they were looking for. What's his nuts in Iraq?
Osama?
Saddam.
Or
Saddam. And like
one of
like,
those two.
Yeah, one of those.
It's
guys.
been a long
Lots of terror in the
world.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to choose from.
Bad situations.
So, and a guy will daydream, and we would daydream about or talk about it. If I went over there, I'd find that guy, this and that and the other.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me at him.
Well, then there's this story that happened, and this is the best part. It was the Crips and Bloods got together, and like 10 of each really came together and said they're going to go over and find Saddam Hussein. I'm sorry.
Whoa.
This is so stupid. And it's true. They get on a plane, they get over there, and in the first 24 hours, they were all shot and killed at one checkpoint. Yeah, they were dead. So, it's just stupid. These other guys decided to write this story around it. Now, we found out about the story. I looked at the story, didn't like the story, but I said the idea and the premise is good. So I changed it to Colombia, and then let's go after somebody, and then wrote it around.
That's pretty neat because you found you found what was funny about that story. Because the way you told that story sounds funny because of how you told it.
It was 20 people dying.
Right, because I'm sure if I heard that story from the news, they wouldn't tell it like this is something silly.
Well, yeah. Now I'm imagining like a gritty independent, like a Casper Van Dien movie.
Yeah.
Well, there's some bad things in there.
You wrote it and you directed it. Did you let your act? I imagine you got like comedians like Eddie Griffin there. Do you let them improvise in scenes?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
we're so far off. We forgot what movie we were making halfway through. Eddie and I get kicked out of hotels in Vegas still constantly. Just we'll get drunk and just start ranting. He's awesome. You just got to let him go. And then, John Grice and all, Casper, everybody just went and they went off.
That must be fun to see Casper letting loose like that.
That was one of the most surprising things about the trailer for me is like, knowing him from a bunch of genre stuff. I was like, oh, cool. Like, I'm excited to see you stretch your legs in a comedy like this,
It's cool, man. And he's so good in it. Like I said before, he needs to be in more comedy.
I was actually curious, because especially in the third part of the trailer there, like the action looks pretty intense. Like it looks like an action movie, and sometimes it's hard in an action comedy to make the action look good. So like, how did you approach the action? Like, did you take inspiration from any place? Or?
Yeah, so Hank, who does a lot of I guess second unit directing for Michael Bay and them and shooting. So he's a friend, called on a favor and got those guys, and Dustin, those guys came and they directed all of that for us. Basically, I just, I watched a shit ton of those movies when I was growing up. And I was like, man, I want shooting, lots of AK-47s and everything, firing everywhere. And
that's a bro fantasy.
Yeah.
Did they bring any like Michael Bay trademarks with them? Like, is everyone in that scene really sweaty and like a lot of Dutch angles and stuff?
What do you mean, like hot models?
Yeah.
And shit on the side?
Does somebody breaks to like open the hood of a car and lean over?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. We're like, no, man, we're actually filming shooting over here.
No, this is gonna be great though. This works for Michael all the time.
Just let it happen, and the sun will be setting. So we're gonna waste 3 days to catch that shot.
Who's that girl in who's like
the one shooting the
hot, the hot chick blazing bullets?
Ashley Thomas is her name. Yeah, this is her first film.
Really?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Oh, well,
how'd she do?
Was she
awesome.
good?
Yeah, she's really pretty. She's good. She did a great job. Not the first time she's ever acted, but it was first film though, feature. Lynn Shay is in it as well.
I saw that. I was gonna ask about that.
You know Lynn Shay then.
Yeah. I'm a big
one of my favorite people in the world, by the way. Lynn is awesome. I'm pretty sure that we were crying and holding each other talking one day. She's the best. She was do you know who Lynn is? She was
I can pretend.
Magda on Something About Mary, the
yes.
She's in Insidious.
Yeah, when I said I was going to get into this business, I'm going to put her in everything I do, and I have. Every movie.
Oh, it's good to have that collaboration. She's your De Niro to your Scorsese.
Yeah, she is.
She's like the main in Insidious with Tucker and Speck.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Of course I know her.
Yeah, married to Wes Craven and all that.
Yeah, they're in Insidious. She was married to Wes Craven?
Yeah, I believe so.
You should know this. She is.
Yeah, man, you guys are besties.
What the hell, man?
It's crazy because she and I have been dating for a while.
It's good not to talk about history, though. You know?
Yeah. You don't want to get too jealous.
Make some more about you guys, you know. Not,
That was gonna kill me.
we got a couple of questions from people over at our Patreon that they saw the trailer and wanted to ask you.
Okay. Why does it suck so bad?
Andrew Hayes said. Andrew
Do you have any
Hayes.
thoughts about your own shittiness?
How hard is it to write a comedic script? He has to learn the grammar on writing as one asking a writing
how hard
question.
is it to write a comedic script?
How hard is it to write a comedic script?
Well, there are two answers to that. Are you saying that I'm not funny? Then, if that was
really,
that's what
how hard
What's all the tone of that question right there?
To me, it's the only thing that at the moment that I can write. I don't know how people write scripts. I've never been to any school of filmmaking at all. I just did it based on growing up and watching stuff, and I was like, this needs to cut here, this needs to cut here. I do think that's the best thing that I do, is that I know when to cut and when to leave a joke alone and when to bring it back up again. I think I'm good at that.
That is a good skill.
Yeah. I have that going for me, I think. Other than that, you know, in my mind as I'm writing them, you know, the comedy's going on in my mind, which either one makes me completely freaking wacko, or that's what everybody does. I don't know. So I'm like playing it out, and they're talking. And
How long did it take you to write this script?
I don't even want to tell you.
6 day business days?
Yeah. 6 days. You get one more day too. It was, I think this one, the first rough draft was 12 days.
Nice.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
That's quicker than any short I've ever written.
and then I think we've sealed it up in a month. It doesn't mean that I feel that, you know, it was less than it could have been. I mean, it just that comes to me really quickly.
Well, you seem passionate about it. When you're passionate about writing something, I'm assuming it comes together a lot quicker when you're writing it.
Yeah. I sit there and laugh at it, and I'm like, oh God, you got to come here and
I'm
read
a funny
that.
fucking guy.
So to answer your question, I think it's fantastic.
How did this movie end up changing from what you originally planned, Garrett Hood?
For how this thing changed, one, we didn't have any money 3 days prior to starting this movie. By the time we're finished at some point, it was funnier than I expected because the people were able to go off script.
Nice,
and
yeah.
They really did what they're known for.
Yeah.
When we got on there, when we got out into each of these settings, a lot more ideas came up, and we have that kind of thing where everybody gets to throw in ideas. So I had this white wall, and I was walking through each scene, and I'm like, okay, I walk into this room because the first movie we did, we hired set dressers, and we're gonna kill the set dressers watching this. There, I walked in, and I'm a gamer, and when we walked into the room, everything about the room was like pro gaming this, and there was just crap everywhere. It was not anybody's room ever.
I see.
And I'm like, I want everything to look realistic, and so what we did is I drew every single room out as this movie on. I'm like, all right, we walk in here, what do we see? And I have all 20 people that are in pre-production going, we got an old lady smoking a cigar in one room. Like, fucking yes, let's do it. And so we literally just drew it out and wrote in all the props and everything in there. And it was so much better. I'll never do another movie differently, man. Just let everybody go. You know what would be funny is if we have a little person, and then he's running the hotel, and then he's also the DJ. At the bar, and so we were like, this is incredible. So we started doing that. I mean, it's really funny, man, just letting a lot of minds come together.
Yeah, of course. You seem like you really embrace the creative, collaborative process.
Creatively speaking, there are not a lot of good creative people in this business. Let's just be honest, or the stuff would not be bad. As a collaborative unit, there are a lot of good people that can be collaborative creatives. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
There are a lot of bad movies. You guys cringe when you have to watch some trailers and things like that. I mean, what? Like 90% of the stuff that people pass off.
I love all trailers.
Every single one.
That's not true. When I walked in, they were burning a whole thing of DVDs. I mean, it's not easy, and but then if you take what you think is a decent starting base, and then let everybody throw in on it, and then you can just sit through, and you can make a better project, and it's like one big family. When we make something. I
mean, when you started off talking about it, that's what it sounded like you had, was just this community bonding together the whole time.
Yeah.
It seems like you really thrive on experience.
You're obviously, leveling up each time you make one of these, it seems like. do you have like a dream movie that if you had all the resources you would go nuts on, like, you know, closest to unlocking your inner art director? You know?
You know, the cool thing is just recently, after this movie came out, by the way, it's been beyond our dreams of successful so far.
Hell yeah, dude.
And it has helped, thank you. And it has helped a lot. So John Grice and I are doing a show together called Planet Sanity. One of my dream projects is something that, and Tara's sitting over here on the floor. You guys can't see.
Tara's right there.
Say hi, Tara.
Hi, Tara.
So we wrote a children's story, which is super cool. Hey. And we fly to London next week for our publishing rights in Europe, and it's going to be an animated feature. And then we have one of the partners in it was former executive of Activision. He's making the game for it. Nice. So that is super. Like, I'm super stoked about. And then yes, there's another one that is it's kind of a modern day mob based thriller that I have not started. I've started the script. Yes, that was almost finished, but that's the movie that I want to make. Things have gotten easier to make and move forward, like especially the you know, the kids book, the other TV shows. It gets easier as it goes. It's pissing in the wind when you start, bro. I'm sorry, excuse my language, but it's really tough. It's not. I mean, nobody wants
30 minutes. Excuse my language.
Retroactively. I mean, the whole thing. I was telling somebody an analogy, which I'm obviously terrible at. But I said it's like a pig with only so many nipples, and there's hundreds of piglets trying to get a nipple, and everybody's like trying to keep you out. It helps when you have the right representation. I worked over at WME. That helps. A big law firm helps. Richard Konigsberg is my manager. He's awesome. See, man, I just gave I want $30. It's getting easier, so I think I'll be able to make a lot more that I want to. We have a show called Randoms, which we're almost ready to go into production on. It's a scripted show, kind of like Silicon Valley, based in the esports world.
Oh, cool!
Yeah, so we're doing that, and we got major pro teams like Team Optic and Hector, the owner, and all these guys are going to be doing their cameos throughout that, and that's a really cool show. Good budget for us, and yeah, we're super excited about that one.
Dude, congratulations on your success. Yeah, I hope you have a massive indie hit film, so that way you can sell out and do some major studio film, comic book movie, not have any creative control over it.
Ant-Man 5.
Ant-Man 5, just slap your name on there.
I'll tell you, man, I've passed on a couple of other scripts that were good paydays.
That's good to hear, though.
Keeping it
I was broke at the time, but I was like, you're only remembered for what you do. And if it comes out of my mind, and they hate it, then that's just, they hate it. But if it comes out of somebody else's mind and I have to do it, I feel like it's just, there's nothing I can do. Yeah.
Sweet.
All right, well, thank you for letting me chill. This is awesome.
Thank you for being here.
It's a great show. Thank you.
Really easy to converse with you.
Yeah.
Really easy to converse with you.
Awesome.
Guys, Blake Freeman, make sure to, I'll put the link in the trailer. Isn't this on demand right now?
It's on. Oh yeah, we should probably talk about the fucking movie.
Yeah, we should talk a little bit more about the movie.
Wait, why am I here? Here to talk about me.
We talked about it first like 20 minutes.
Let's just talk about it. So the movie.
We gotta buy into you first, though.
The movie's awesome. It's on every platform. It's on your cable VOD right now. It's on iTunes and Amazon, and you could probably steal it if you look hard enough and torrent it. Don't do that, but
he'll give you tips on how to do it.
Yeah, so it's out right now, and check it out. And if you truly hate it after you watch it, then just find me on social media and then let me know. No, I'm serious. Like, if you think it's shit, then tell me it's shit. But I think it's good. I think it's funny. I mean, we got a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes right now from audience, which is awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
We didn't even check.
Not bad.
Yeah. We're like 7-something out of 10 on IMDb.
The movie must actually be good, guys.
Yeah, 99%. In fact, out of 7,000 movies, we were ranked #1 on audience-rated movies that are available now to rent. So it's really cool. Yeah.
We should have started off the interview with that information.
Put that on the beginning.
Hi, thanks for having us today.
You got a baby driver that trailer now, just 99% audience approval.
Yeah. So that just means not a lot of people have watched it yet. So
99% out of 6 people
that live in my apartment building, they love it.
All right, guys, this is Blake Freeman. All About the Money is the movie. We're Greg and John with The Real Rejects. Subscribe. Take care.
Peace.
Later.